Ohayou gozaimasu. Welcome everybody to the anime show that's not taking place in the morning, but it is morning in Japan, so that's how we get away with the name. My name is John, and it feels like it's been a little while, but I am back to talk about anime and specifically Jujutsu Kaisen. We've got the regular crew of suspects joining us here in a moment to give their thoughts. So we'll start getting right into it. And Phil, welcome.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hey, John. Doing well. How about yourself?
Good. We're shirt twinsies.
Oh, yeah. All right. Got my memo.
Yeah, I guess so. Yep. Well, thanks for being here. Let's get JP in here. JP, how's it going?
JP missed the memo.
I'm rocking a white t-shirt that's full of baby food.
Yep.
Feeling good.
Cool. Nice.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here as well. And we'll get Mike. How's it going?
Good. I can't believe you bastards didn't tell me about the shirt thing.
I know. I'm looking it up right now. I'm going to go buy one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I feel
I
terrible.
know who the favorite is, Phil.
Frankly, I feel terrible. So.
No. I get it. Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, I think JP doesn't have a shirt yet. We got to meet up, so you can get one here. So we'll make that happen. Tonight, I don't think there's as much like up top that we're gonna necessarily go through, but I see that Phil's watched a few different things, so we'll just get some impressions on that anyhow. We talked before a little bit about your interest in Trigun Stampede, and you've been watching that. So why don't you all give us all your thoughts on Trigun Stampede?
Yeah, for sure. So John, you had at one point or another in the last several months mentioned that Trigun, the original, was excellent. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like you were talking about it as one of your favorite anime. Like, it's up there. It's up there in one of your, classic animes you love, I should say. Maybe I could be misrepresenting what you said, but... and so I was looking for something, like a little palate cleanser as I was finishing up Attack on Titan Season 1. And it seemed kind of up my alley. I've always been a fan of, like... alien westerns, kind of like Borderlands, the video game, just different things like that, where you got kind of like a alien like wasteland, and that people are kind of living like the wild west. So that's always really fun for me. So it seemed like Trigun Stampede was kind of up that alley, or Trigun original. And then I was looking up, I saw Trigun Stampede that had come out, and I was trying to figure out, is this a new season, like a continuation, or is it more of a redo, or just like a touch up on the original? And I was chatting with John about it, and I was doing some of my own research online, and it sounds like, really what it is, it's more of a retelling of the story. It's the same story, but done in less episodes. The animation's way different. It's using, as far as I can tell, primarily CGI. I'm not like an expert on the animation styles and stuff. And so it's a shorter, sort of more, I guess, I read a review by someone who'd watched both series. It's sort of like a more condensed, intense version of the original. But this author thought it kept a lot of the same, like the core, emotions and storyline intact, even though things were mixed around a little bit and it was told a little differently. So I love it. It's awesome. It's super fun. It's really deep and compelling, very heartfelt. I thought it was kind of a zany space adventure anime, but it's super deep, and it's really intense. It's intense at times, and there are some really fun parts to it, and really fun characters. It's just a really cohesive story, and just like it feels really like a full world, like really fleshed out really well. I would say if you're not into CGI, it probably isn't for you. Maybe go with the original. I
think it's people watching, like, here's an image of new versus traditional versus original.
The new is pretty. I mean, if you can get past the CGI, the new is pretty sleek. Like just the design and this looks a little more futuristic. I think just seeing some of the old stills and stuff, and just a little more like modern. Like even Vash's hair, just his haircut, is just I feel like modern compared to the original. You know, stuff like that.
That was part of my issue with it. You know, it's like it's not just a retelling and, like you say, kind of sped up pacing wise, which I can appreciate that. You know, coming from a Dragon Ball, like I know people watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is kind of that same sort of thing.
That's what I was thinking of.
But it's cutting a lot of filler and everything else is the same. This is like you say, new hairstyle for this guy.
Sure.
It's the kind of modern, different take on the glasses. The just from this, the like cloak is like a hoodie or something. And it's just a very different vibe they're selling. And I mean, I think if you're coming at it fresh, I don't know which way you prefer, you know.
Yeah.
But it is a radical change in aesthetic for sure. For sure. So,
and I actually intend to, and I haven't finished. I have like 2 episodes left, so I'm like right at the climax of this. I think it's only going to be just this one season, so I'm right at the climax. And I intend to go back and watch the original as well. Then I can really give a good compare contrast. But just the general like vibe and like what I'm like learning about the show, which I'm not going to spoil anything, and why he sort of like does things the way he does things. Does that make sense, John? Like why he, why he does things he does. It's just really interesting, and like the whole his whole backstory with his relative and it's like there's certainly dark parts and like emotional parts, but it's really good.
This kid here on screen, for those watching, is like reads as some sort of like, you know, hipster guy now.
Yeah,
he's like you know, it's just
I won't know if his personality is much different until I watch the original, but
yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that's changed, if it's like yeah. Well, I mean,
really like it though.
Well, good. JP or Mike, you get any familiarity with Trigun or any input on any of this?
I have no opinion. I have no idea.
I mean, JP, you won't like it because it's pre like 2005, you know, and so the animation or art style or something will be like, what is this crap?
Possibly, yeah. Well, you might like Trigun Stampede then, JP. I mean,
so the new one might be up your alley.
I mean, if you don't mind the CGI, it's like done, at least it's done well. And at least my thing is, if it looks cool and it's done well, I don't really care that much. I guess I'm not like a purist.
I can get past animation if story is good.
Yeah.
Like Yeah, there's a couple shows that like at first like, but if I can get into it, maybe. But this futuristic stuff, I've watched a few shows that are like this. There's another one. It was like highly recommended on Crunchyroll that it had a lot of CGI. Yeah, right. It had a lot of CGI in it, but it's really distracting for me.
Okay.
And it gets hard to, you know, read subtitles and then. Like, man, what is going on? There's a lot of like the fake breathing. Like they overdo it sometimes. It's just like it's almost like a video. It's like you're feeling like you're watching a video game sometimes. Right. They're just standing there.
Yep.
There was a great game when I do that. If anyone had the original Xbox, Jet Set Radio Future was the free game that came with, where you tag stuff. All the characters in that game, when they talk, and they're just sitting there dancing the whole time. So it's just the entire game, people are just like, oh, hey, what's up, man? And that's how I think of those modern things.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to share this picture. This I can't abide. Let's see. That look for what's his name? Wolfwood? Nope.
Yeah.
Not okay with that. That is a downgrade.
Just how he looks like.
I hadn't seen him before in the new one. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah, how does he look in the original? Oh yeah, okay.
Like this badass right
Yeah.
here. That's,
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
he's a man. Like this thing. This
That's a
one, he's
big
like,
cross.
I feel like his gun is cooler in the new one though. That's pretty cool too. The whole character is really cool. And I've never seen the original. I think that does make a difference, John. You know?
oh yeah,
That was
Like,
very.
it's like it's like if we were
unwieldy.
both watching a movie and you had read the book and I hadn't. I would be like, "This is awesome." You'd be like, "Oh, let me tell you
Yes.
about the 15 things that the movie did wrong." And the books, so amazing. It's like one of those deals. I have nothing to compare it to, so
yep.
I hear you.
No, I, right, absolutely. I have no doubt, based on what you're saying and what other people have said now that I've looked it up some, that that the new show is good. So
Yeah.
it's just if the original gets in your way or not.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. Well, good. Glad you're enjoying that. Be really interesting to get your opinion on the original when you watch that. Also see that you're watching Space Dandy.
Yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit. I mean, it's like one of those deals where I'm really liking it, and that is like embarrassing, probably for me.
Okay.
Maybe not. It's just
the director of Cowboy Bebop. That's his show.
Yep.
So
It does feel similar to Cowboy Bebop in some ways, in the episodic
So big
nature
piece
of
of
it.
shit. Got it.
JP, this one you probably like better than Cowboy Bebop. I actually like it better than Cowboy Bebop in some ways.
Okay.
In a lot of ways.
We need like a counter on the podcast for number of episodes where Cowboy Bebop hasn't been brought up, and it's just going to be perpetually at
I
zero.
don't think there has been one, maybe. But yeah, have you seen any of you guys seen Space Dandy or heard of it or know anything about it?
let me get Andrea in here quick. Andrea is
Obviously a fan of
welcome.
Space Dandy.
So
So
this is a one season thing from 2014.
I think there's actually 2 seasons, but it may be only 1 season on Crunchyroll. But yeah.
It's I have seen
Andrea.
some of it.
And
It's definitely, to me, a show that, I mean, anything that the director of Cowboy Bebop does, I check out.
Yep, sure.
If I'm able.
Oh my God.
And it's
Pull up an image of this. It's the most ridiculous even looking thing. Like
it's
Space Dandy. Think of it
it's
like
fun.
Johnny
wild. It's
Bravo
fun, though.
in space.
you know what?
That's what
I
it's
can
like.
get behind that. Johnny Bravo's A tier character.
Yeah.
like the
This is
adult
like-
version of Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, for sure. I mean, but it's like each episode, our Space Dandy might die at the end.
Yeah.
And
He
then
dies
the
in
next
the very first
episode,
episode.
you don't pretend it doesn't happen.
Yep.
So like it's just an episodic,
Yep.
ridiculous romp. Like you should probably be high watching it to really like soak it in.
Yes.
And I think it's just zany fun.
Very
If
zany.
you're looking for, it's one of the few things by Shinichi no Watanabe that if you watch it, you're not going to find a lot of depth. Most of his other works I've ever seen always have subtext or something that like reveals itself as the show moves on, like further character study or something. This is just, as far as I can ever tell, just zany fun.
Yes.
So
I've heard because I was like watched a couple episodes and I was like, this is weird, and it's like very. I mean, there's a lot of like crude humor, I would say, and
Yes.
some like
it's
like there's his favorite restaurant is Boobies, which is like a takeoff of Hooters. It's like a space restaurant that has like 10,000 locations, and he's trying to get to all of them. So
Yes.
I mean, I think he's like a single dude.
I see he's Johnny Bravo.
Yeah,
He's Johnny Bravo.
I mean, so there's
he's,
some like
he's out for the ladies.
He's out for the
There's
ladies.
going to be fart jokes.
There's some fan
it's just
service.
fun.
It's fun though. It's zany fun. It's funny. I had some good belly laughs, like laughing out loud watching some episodes. I was on vacation this last week, and I was like, at the end of the night, we've had some cocktails and such, and I'm like, I'm gonna throw on some watch some anime on my phone. I was like, I'm Space Dandy, watch an episode or two. It was just like a fun, like decompressing, like not stressful at all. It's just super awesome.
Yep.
Not for everyone,
Nice.
probably, but
Nice.
definitely for Andrew.
I think it's maybe the show of Cowboy Bebop director Shinichiro Watanabe's work that JP would most appreciate.
I think so too.
That I've
JP,
ever
I think
seen.
you would like it actually. Go into it with just like a completely open mind. It's supposed to be funny. You know, it's just wacky.
Yeah.
You know, if I had more time for stupid shows,
Fair.
I'd add it right in there. I'm already watching Zom 100. I've got
Yep.
so many shows.
Is there? So how many of those are out now? I haven't checked in a
4?
in a minute.
I thought 5 or
4.
6.
For Zom 100?
No,
Yeah, Zom 100.
There's
definitely not
5.
6, Phil. Maybe 4 or 5.
The 5th episode just is coming out this week.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
I think I'm 1 or 2 behind, but
I'm
enjoying it,
heavily enjoying it. It's very
Yeah.
good.
Same.
Me too.
Same.
It's awesome.
good. Anyone
Do you have
checked
any-
out the live action version?
I was just gonna say, does anybody have any plans for live action?
There's a live action Zom.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix now, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
What?
No, I haven't seen it.
They
What
they
about the live
almost
action One Piece?
they almost got me with the trailer, and the main character came out of like the convenience store that he goes to in the second episode with a Green Bay Packer sweatshirt on,
Oh,
and I was
God.
like, my boy. But then I was like, no,
No,
I
no.
can't do this. It's one of those shows where like it has to be in the medium of anime. Like it can't,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for
Must
me in live
maintain the
action.
integrity.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. There's 4 episodes. I want to hear it.
All right. Mike, I saw you said in the comments you started Hunter x Hunter.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
how's that?
So yeah, what do you think of that?
I had a 14-hour drive one way to Ohio for track weekend this past weekend. So we had some time. We watched a whole lot of AP Bio, which won't, be part of this show. But then the other thing that we started was Hunter x Hunter. My buddy heard that I was watching Jujutsu Kaisen. He's like, dude, you got to check this one out too. So he started watching that on Crunchyroll. I think we got like 7 or 8 episodes into it, and I like the vibe of it quite a lot. We're still in like the
Hunter exam.
trials part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. The jester guy is just so off-putting. Like I like that a lot. I hate him so much. But in, like, the
once you
best
see how
way.
horny he
Like,
is
I'm
for those
supposed
kids.
to.
You're just like, man, maybe pedophilia is a problem in Japan because there's a lot of characters that just like, oh, gone. And it's like,
So-
man, I cannot.
That is, he did preface that for me. He's like, now before we get started, there's something super jacked up about this one.
There's
And
like
I was
one
like,
little
well, what do you mean? And
that's
he's like, well,
Which character is
Yeah.
that?
the
red hair.
dude with the star.
I can't remember his name.
Okay. Well, so then if Hisoka? Hisoka.
Ahsoka, that's right.
Yeah.
It
In
was like
fairness, he's a creepy villain.
exactly.
So
And that's why I was
Maybe
okay.
some deviants,
Yeah.
some villains are sexual deviants, Mike. That's how it goes.
yeah.
Yeah. Like,
No,
he's
but-
like,
yeah.
he gets aroused when he sees how powerful these 2 kids are. And I'm like, how old are they? And he's like, they're like 10. And I was like, this is fucked up.
Gross.
All right. So
That show's
Yeah,
perennially on my list to check out, and I just haven't quite got there yet.
It's a show I wouldn't have recommended to Mike.
I know.
Because he'd been watching Shonen
It's like
after Shonen,
Classic Shonen.
one after another,
Yeah.
and then feeling the like burn of that or whatever, the slog or something. And this is like definitely,
Long.
this is very Shonen, and it goes on for a very long time. It is, I think the creator of it actually, I can't remember if he got sick and he decided he was going to try to wrap it up fast, or if he, is just trying to like hand it off to someone else to like conclude it the way he wants it to be concluded, something like
Sure.
that. So there's
He got burned out. He got super, like his back. He like pretty much gave himself scoliosis type stuff because he was just hammering out chapters
yeah.
for like, I don't know, 10 years straight. And he's like, yeah. Is his wife the Sailor Moon creator?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm not sure about
I
that.
think so. That's I remember I was talking this with my brother because I hammered through it and I was like, wait, there's no more? He's like, oh yeah, the guy is burnt out and he's doing like a chapter every 6 months now. He's very not in the mood to do anymore.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It didn't like, this doesn't feel like it's got the same seriousness to it that some of the other ones that we're watching. And so I like the brevity of this one. And I think that's why it was kind of easy to jump into. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to stick with it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. It starts out lighthearted. It'll pick up and
It does.
Oh, damn.
It does like the best shonen do or whatever, and it really, it plays those power dynamics and who is stronger, and it does all that stuff well. I've watched it pretty far. I kind of fell off for a little bit because there was a point where there was some part of a competition. I'm just like, these choices make no sense. I was like, this scenario would not be happening right now, and I got sick of it. So I just kind of stopped, and every once in a while I kind of tiptoe back in for an episode or two, but yeah. Okay, well, cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're giving that a shot. Phil, I know you don't have too long here, so we should get into the main
yeah, and I can probably
discussion.
swing a little bit longer. I could probably stand another half hour. I bet would be fine.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Well, we'll pick it up. So we have a little bit of a break now in Jujutsu Kaisen. So it's let's see. So I hope you're satisfied, because now we're going to get recaps and stuff like that of the movie and of the first season and such. But these first 5 episodes, it's all done now. I know we had a lot of theories. Let's start with Mike, because I know there was some being upset about episode 4. What'd you think of these two?
I have to stop creating headcanon, because my headcanon is always fucking way cooler than what the hell they write. And I actually wanted to know what you thought of Gojo's. Wait, are we doing spoilers or no?
Yeah, spoiler.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course,
All right.
yeah.
All right, good. About his revival too, because I very specifically remember. I can't remember if it was in our text chat or if it was on the show, where you said if he just kind of gets back up, you're going to be super disappointed. And I'm watching that going,
Yeah.
like, he just got back up. He just did it. Just because, just because God. Because
John's
Gojo is
pissed.
God.
Well, no,
Yeah.
he reversed you did negative curse energy and then you multiplied it negative against negative, and that makes it positive. And
It was all a
like,
bunch of gobbledygook. Yeah.
He did all that.
I've
And
never done that
anticipated all of
before.
this
Thank
that was
you.
going to happen, despite getting his ass absolutely handed to him, which was cool. Super cool, by the way. And then they went and undercut how fucking cool it was by being like, nah, I put this thing in my brain. Get out of here.
Yeah.
He's even my favorite character, and I'm mad about it. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
little
there's
easy.
a different way to like get him to finally recognize how to use his technique. Do you know what I mean? Like it was very cool
Yes.
that it was like
I
death
agree.
scenario to be like, I finally understand, but this wasn't it. Like this wasn't the actual like written out scenario that should have happened.
This was Dragon Ball Z 101. This was, I am at death's door. I am near death, and now I unlock my true power. That's all this is. So it's like, I can't be horribly upset because it's been done. It's like, this is normal.
Classic.
But I think all of our ideas were better, for something unique, for something different.
Yeah.
And I actually think this show is being over-directed. Like, the quality of the direction is outclassing the interest of the writing at this point. Like, this show, it looks like it's ready for a more complex story, visually and it's just not there in the script right now. Like ultimately, I'm not going to have a problem with this. We saw now how Gojo took another step forward, but I think it would have been much more interesting to see some sort of major sacrifice for Gojo to live, and then we wouldn't have had to take so much time. Do we need to spend so much time figuring out how Gojo improved his powers? Like, is that actually important? Because to me,
no.
And I'll toss it to you, JP. Is it to me? Is it important, or to you? Is it important that like Geto seemed to be the focus of this? Like, he was supposed to be the focus, and we lost that, and we had to hurry and get back to it in the last episode.
Yeah, it seemed very like, oh, don't forget that we're talking about Geto right at the end, and then that was it. I don't really care that his brain power is like working like a computer program. Oh, I just have to train it. It's like how to train an AI model is what they were trying to do. And I don't know. It seems cheesy. It seems a little cheesier to explain everything. I really like the mystery of it. Sure. And it feels like a weird way to explain the power in a flashback instead of just show me. Just show me,
right?
Baby.
Would
also,
you agree? Go ahead, Phil.
I was going to say, also, their explainations half the time to me like only kind of make sense. Like, it's like you're just throwing a bunch of words out there. Like, fine. Like, but you could just you could just show me. I'll take your. I mean, because as you explain it, I'm just like, okay, that was just a bunch of gobbledygook. So anyway, sorry, what, Mike?
Yeah. You could literally, instead of all the explanation, you could have just been like, "I'm God." So
I got the magic,
and I figured that out.
Magic.
Like, okay,
right.
I loved these first 5 episodes. I liked them more than the other show. I actually would rather have this story done over the entire course of the season than the story that we're actually getting. I couldn't give a shit less about Yuji now at this point, because I like these two characters more. I like their dynamic more. I find this more interesting. But then they totally undercut all of that. And like you said, now these episodes are somewhat pointless almost, because now we have Geto's reason for change of heart is effectively because he was sort of sad and some lady sat down and talked to him.
Literally asked him a question. I did not like that at all.
So I'm gonna completely go against something I said earlier, where I actually didn't, at the start of this season, didn't want this story arc to be very long. And I'm actually going to go against that. And I'm going to say, like, I found myself really getting into this and into the reasoning of where everybody was coming from with their, I'm the champion of people. I am not the champion of people. People are monkeys now. But like, now it feels too rushed. Now that I just got into it, it's over. Yes. And I'm kind of upset about that because it really got interesting. It was teetering on the verge of asking some really interesting questions. Yep. Where Gojo was like, what if I killed all these people?
Yep.
Like, what do you think about it? Like, we do it. Like, that was just such an interesting moment. And Geto was like, we can't do it. There's no point.
Right.
And that was a really interesting moment. And then his conversation was a really interesting point, but it's too short. It's all too short.
Yep.
Everything could have been just teased along a little bit more out of like half a season, maybe even. And then we could have gotten this wake up to his students, and Gojo's like, I went through this whole thing.
Yep.
I would have been far happier than this like really interesting but rushed job we just got.
Even another episode would have been, even 6, that would have really helped, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it could be more, but at least one more. At least.
Yeah, definitely.
Nailed it. End podcast.
Yeah. I think they ran into the Anakin Skywalker problem, where it's like, I mean, you can have a debate on it or not, but like some people would argue that Anakin's descent to the dark side in Star Wars is too quick. Like, if you kind of look back at the trilogy, the prequel trilogy, you can see the seeds and you can see how it happens and stuff like that. And I think you can do that here too, to a point. But my issue is that we could have had great moments with Geto sliding down this slope instead of spending so much time explaining Gojo's powers. That doesn't matter. The point is not how he uses his powers. The point is he is the most powerful. Yeah. Everything else around him is irrelevant. You know.
Well, and then I slightly disagree, because I think that it's interesting to know why he's the most powerful, because I hope there's a point to it later. Or like learning about like red and blue and hollow purple. I kind of was interested in that just because he was so just like, you know, floating around like, I am a god, like, check me out. I figured out all this shit. Like it was an interesting character moment. It just unfortunately now took away. And I think that's why maybe I don't like it as much, but I still find it interesting. It's because it's frustrating that it took away from like something really interesting that they were developing and could have just been an addition to a better, longer storyline.
They had.
Sorry, I know I cut you off.
Oh no! I'm getting like every other word, so I'm piecing together sentences.
Oh,
and
sorry.
When you're done. No, it's not you. It's me.
Mike needs a new computer.
I do. They had such a beautiful setup to all this, right? Because at the end of the first season, we go into this having watched Geto orchestrate all of these intelligent curses into attacking the school, right? It's a plan. He's got this thing, right? And then we find out that they used to be friends. So why does that matter, right? Well, you could set that up to say that it matters because Geto's the only one who knows Gojo intimately enough to understand the way that his powers work or what his weaknesses are or the nuance between it. But when you just go, when you get to the end of this, right, and Gojo's just like, I just figured it out, and there's nothing really underlying it, there's no secret then. There's no specialty. There's no piece for Geto to just like have that secret knowledge of, which should have underlined his success here and why he's doing all of this. Because this is the one person that gets him out of the way. So now you've got 5 episodes to tell us why it's important that Geto knows something that nobody else does and why he's orchestrating it this way. Like, my own story aside on, you know, what could have happened and what that secret could have been, like anything would have done well. But what does Geto have on Gojo now? He doesn't have anything on him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to set him up. But I think what that would do is undercut the idea that our enemies and everyone, well, particularly our enemies, have to go about this some other way. Because if he held the secret, you know, that would really elevate him on a threat level. So when we go back and we continue the story, we're still in the place that I think the show wants us to be, and I'm happy to be, in that the power dynamic is as we imagined it before. We just got to see kind of how that developed, and like the people really understood that from a early on point in time, and I do think that's important. I don't think we need to have, you know, because we can still have maybe Geto looking to discover some sort of weakness, but I think he'd be at the point where like he knows there isn't one. We have to, you know, it's going to be a thing like Ganon from Zelda. He's never really dead. You contain him, you know, you capture him. You must banish the evil, but it's not, you know, completely vanquished. So I think it'd be looking for that kind of thing, and I think that that's still really interesting. So
Yeah, I had similar thoughts that you guys did as far as his turn to the dark side felt a little rushed, but ghettos. But what was even harder for me to settle in my mind was he's in the first 4 episodes. He's 3 episodes, shall we say? He's just a really thoughtful guy. And he's really like, you can tell he really is like trying to figure out like, what is my place and what should I be doing and who should I be? And he's always wrestling with that. And then he like kind of like makes this turn. I mean, he goes through a really traumatic event. And then he starts seeing things differently. I mean, there's lots of different things that happen. And he has a whole year of the, what I would call, he like develops into sort of really eventually having like an existential crisis. And then he makes this decision, which is kind of a weird decision, I think, for him to make. But then he's all of a sudden just like different. He's like a different person. Mm-hmm. Now he's like completely like convinced of what he needs to do. Now he's just like, now he just turned into like this like cultish type, like, one track mind. That's just not even him. He's a really thoughtful dude. He's so it just his personality changes, and I feel like the ghetto further on in like season 1, that's more him, like the guy who's already decided, and he's like, and he becomes like this cold-blooded guy that just like mass murderer. Like that was not him. He wasn't like, he was like a kind-hearted person.
So I have a thing for that. But again, it would have been nice if we spent more of the time in these episodes like exploring this possibility where a lot of people, if it's a serial killer or something like that, are going to put on a face, and some of them are they're aware that you're the outcast, that maybe your thoughts are dangerous, that you don't like what you want to do, potentially you wrestle with and know is wrong. So you sit there and you have to constantly, it actually works well that he has to play off of Gojo in this way. That Gojo would be maybe speaking his inner mind at times, but he can kind of be that like off balance for him. So like there would be an internal part of him that is struggling with why he's doing what he's doing, and eventually that thing sort of snaps. You can't pretend anymore. You've tried to live your life the way you're supposed to. You've tried to live in the system. You've tried to go along with the rules. You've tried to use your power to improve society and do what you're told. And then eventually, like, what is it for? Like, you just kind of give up. And I can see this sort of snap, and then you have to go all the way in. Because you don't get to kill 113 people and then kind of half do it.
Oh,
you're like, I went all the way. So now psychologically, you have to convince yourself this is the right path. You have to do everything you can to confirm to yourself that what you're doing is the correct course. Because if you have a moment of doubt, how can you live with yourself?
True.
So
that's a good point, John.
This is the problem with the show, John. Because you're 100% right. And it's what we've all said, but that's your headcanon. We didn't see that, right? Yeah. You can explain that for this story. It would just be cool, like we've said, to see it play out, because this show now could have the same reputation where, John, you could give this wonderful explanation of how he gets to this point, and then it could just be like, nah, actually, something just snapped in his brain, and he just went nuts.
Right.
Like that's just as likely of an explanation for this show to give us now. Which is
and sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Andrew.
No, I was just gonna say, to add what Phil is talking about a little bit, like it's really hard to watch Ghetto. Not only like I can follow along with what John is saying about like, you need to convince yourself of like your own righteousness, and like you need to like fully commit yourself to a path. But like it would be really interesting to see like how everything changed, from like wearing his hair to his manner of dress to his like different manner of speaking. Everything about him undergoes a change, and it would be interesting to see where all of that came from. And maybe even interesting to see him like, you know, go to this meeting and speak in front of this new cult that he basically bought somehow and fail and be like, oh man, I'm not going far enough. I need to like evolve something else about myself. I need to, you know, go further. And so we can see this, like, this is how my personality changes, because Phil's right. I think he was this really thoughtful person. He went through a break that we half saw. And then we got a new person that we didn't see how he arrived there. Yeah.
Well, and I think based on his former personality, because a lot of what you saw was like in his internal thoughts too. So I mean, you can see what he was really thinking. It wasn't like, oh, he was hiding his real true self. It's like a lot of it was his inner thoughts and stuff. And he seemed like he like cared about people and helping people. So like someone like this could have just decided they can't do this. They didn't have to like go all in and become a mass murderer like villain. He could have just been like, I'm not going to be a jujutsu sorcerer. Like, I'm just going to leave. This isn't for me. I can't do this. Like, I think so. That's one piece where I was just like, it's such a drastic shift. But
or he's decided that the people he's helping are jujutsu sorcerers. You know what I mean? Like, instead of caring about humanity, like, I care about saving the world for these people. You know, the people I'm saving the world for have shifted.
Right. Yeah. No, sure. Yeah, that's certainly what happened. It's just so weird. I just think it's a weird shift, but I still really enjoyed it. But yeah.
JP, sure. What do you think of Ghetto's instant transformation?
Villain makeover montage.
5-episode arc to show why somebody becomes a bad guy after one question, one seemingly. I didn't think there was enough. And this chick, do we know who this is, or is she brand new?
Brand new.
As far as I'm aware.
Mentioned ever, you know, but
half these people are probably related to all the people that are in the current show. Like, who's your favorite type of chick?
Yeah,
like, it's definitely going back to that guy.
Yeah,
my favorite character.
It's like it'd be a little too much if it's related to.
Yeah. That'd be so much fun.
That would be fun. Yeah. Got to be right.
I think
that was actually my favorite part of the episode. Was like the
I forgot
reveal.
It.
She was cool.
Yeah, I know we're ragging on these 2 episodes a lot. I will say, my favorite whole part of the 2 episodes was Gojo putting a freaking hole in that guy, and he's just like grabbing. He's like, oh,
yeah,
nothing there.
Yeah, I'm not surviving this one.
Nope. That's rough. That's hard to come back from.
No, I really liked these 2 episodes.
Me too.
But I think we could have done better. All it is. We did sit here and discuss and theorize and all these things. I mean, to your point about the dress and all that stuff changing the way Ghetto looks and everything. What I would do on another pass of the script would be having something where Ghetto is as a kid, maybe he has it wouldn't be a super original, but not a very great family life. And he's watching TV as a kid and sees some sermon like weekly. And this is a sort of a father figure that he sees and giving whatever sort of thing. And every week he's watching this thing as his parents are arguing in the background.
Yeah.
And this person looks a lot like him, like what he becomes to dress. So he's
this is what I think
deciding
power
to
looks like.
Yeah, this is what someone that's respectable, that's kind of garnering the attention of the masses. This is what they are like, and that's what I choose to represent. Then,
that would have been interesting.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. It is interesting too that he's not. If he's disillusioned by anybody, it shouldn't. I mean, it was by the humans who are clapping and applauding Rico's death or whatever. But also, like, the Jujutsu High treating people as dispendable. Like, they're the ones that were like, "Yeah, Lord Tengen needs a host, so we're gonna have you guys bring her here." And they were obviously not super cool with that if she didn't want to do it. And then they sent that their other friend that first year on a mission that he shouldn't have gone on. And that leaves a bitter taste in your mouth as your higher ups in the school are the ones that sent him, and they screwed up so royally. And so you'd think he'd have some disillusionment and some anger towards the Jujutsu sorcerer community, not people necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, but isn't that the way prejudice always works? It's misdirected,
Right.
anger.
Yeah,
it's
true.
like it's sometimes there's a reason, but you're pointing the finger in the wrong direction.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The combat was over these last couple was super awesome.
Definitely.
Seeing his, like, I still don't quite understand this guy that they fought, this assassin guy, but he was sick. It was super cool.
Yeah.
I like how he thought all of this through. He kind of feels like the precursor to Geto, because he sent all these different minions that he knew was gonna fail, all to keep Gojo awake so long that his senses would be dulled. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then the fight itself was awesome. And then the fight after that between Geto and that guy, where he brings out the dragon, he's like, that's like a steel hide or whatever it is. It can't be. That was all really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think them falling in the bridge was pretty sweet as well. The whole thing was just falling, and they're just sitting there staring at each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And seeing Gojo like unhinged when he's fighting was also pretty. Like,
He was like, hi.
I know his eyes were just like,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
Yeah, he was high.
See,
And he was like riding that high for so long. And I was just like, ooh, this is different.
Yeah.
See, and I did love that moment where, despite my gripes with how he came back, I'm like, I appreciated how his line, like, about just killing everyone, because he's like, the way I'm feeling right now, like, it wouldn't matter.
Right.
And
Yes.
I think that's a really good, powerful truism sort of thing for someone that's gained so much, that really would feel like a deity in this way. Someone that would be revered or feels like they have unlimited power. Like, what are these swine? What does it matter? I'm like on another level. It's like how some tales do vampires. Like, what do humans matter? And so I really liked that from Gojo. And so it makes it all the more important, I think, to give us more of like the switch here, because it really was Geto and Gojo flopping on this idea. But Geto's isn't coming from a place of, I am all powerful.
Well, and that's the crux of this. This is so interesting, because Gojo does say this. He's feeling like he's riding that high, like, I am all powerful. I figured my shit out. Like, I can do the thing that, not even most of my family that's known about can do. And he asks, should we kill them all? And Geto says, we can't do it if there's any point. And then that becomes what Gojo bases his kind of, his own personal moral compass on. Because then in the next episode, we see him ask, I thought we couldn't kill people if there wasn't any point. And he's clearly feeling insanely betrayed by the fact that Geto did exactly that. So he bases his whole moral compass on Geto and that one moment, and then Geto flops on it. Gojo's feeling betrayed. We could have gotten more of this like depth to all of that, because the moments are fantastic, but they're just beats. They're just so quick, and then they're gone. And there could have been some real depth there.
Yeah. I just thought of this. I'll leave space for the possibility that now that we have kind of a more or less fleshed out backstory, there could be flashbacks.
There's more to come.
There could be flashbacks in episodes.
I hope
you wouldn't
so.
have to show much
Me
because we
too.
already know their relationship.
I hope you're right, Phil.
We'll see.
Me too.
I'm really wondering what the manga's like on this. If the manga is quite as quick, or if there's something in that they're concerned that the audience is not going to gravitate towards, they're not going to be a fan of the shift in storyline. Oh, we're going back, or we're talking, like if there's a worry there, so we're going to do this quickly. That would be really interesting to me.
Is this, I guess, are you saying, is this a consequence of it being a shonen where, we need a reason, an excuse to get back to the action? And what we're talking about would be mostly just character driven. It's just development. It's conversation. It's right. It's exposition and the fact, well, not exposition. It's just, it is not action oriented. What we're talking about is psychological. Right.
But yeah, right. But this show, again, the way it's directed feels like it's ready to tell that kind of story.
Yeah.
Like when Ghetto's in the shower and we just those are the moments that are so well done. You just let the noise of the water intensify and you can feel that. And then when he's like, again, the rain, when he's talking to the woman and it's raining outside and then it intensifies and like the clapping is like baked into the background. It's like, these are well done moments that are very thoughtful and that without them, with a less, tempered directorial hand, we wouldn't be getting a lot of these things. Like we have to be able to feel what Ghetto is feeling a little bit through the way it's shot and the way the audio is done, because we're not getting it through dialogue. We're not getting it through things that are happening. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if it's,
and I can totally connect with the fact that the thing, what Ghetto went through could have a really huge impact on anybody who was in his shoes. He was like protecting this girl who they'd like forge a connection with, him and Gojo, and then she just gets shot right in front of him. I mean, that'll mess anybody up. I mean, it doesn't mean he's a bad guy, which so it's just really interesting. So I think that's a good point, John, where like those moments do help kind of tell the story, even if they couldn't flesh out everything about his descent. They were like just showing this internal turmoil and struggle he was going through during this whole like next year. So it's just, I agree with you, really well done. And I did think like, John, last episode or the episode before, John was talking about Ghetto. Ghetto's the true hottie of this show. I was like, there's John's shower scene right there. It's there. Ghetto's in the shower, texting John. So,
yep. They were thinking of me, right?
They were, for sure.
Yeah, and to go through all of that and then to just be like, it's cool, there's like another star vessel out there.
Yeah.
That was a really throwaway line of that conversation that I actually thought was really important.
Yes.
Right.
That was ridiculous.
It sets again the idea that the structural problems with Jujutsu High, and the way that the sorcerer community runs and works.
You went through all of this and like, it actually kind of doesn't even matter.
Not at all.
Yep.
It's like, and it was just so blasé. Like they found a new vessel or something, or maybe I don't know. Whatever. Tengen's fine. Either way, it's all good.
Yeah.
Sorry about all the trauma and such.
Yep.
Sorry for getting you emotionally attached to your mission.
Yeah.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
That's actually like insanely emotionally manipulative. And that kind of makes me interested to like know more about her character, just because
I feel like
she comes in, she like breezes in and had this whole like revelatory conversation. Yeah. And then she's like, yep, peace again.
She clearly had a reason for doing that. She didn't just drop by for funsies. Like she's probably kind of baddish news. I think. I didn't get like a good person vibe from her necessarily.
No.
Yeah, I was, being so removed from the time that I was able to see season 1 and the movie. I was so, ready to accept some sort of excuse before the big turn of why Ghetto is really on the right side of things, or at least why there's a lot more to understand about his side, because we start getting these things about the school and how they would be okay just sacrificing a girl and whatever, and then we can go back to like what they're willing to just kill Itadori as well because he has this thing in him and stuff. Like so it's like, okay, maybe there's more of a point here to our nemesis, and maybe we'll, there's a chance we can do a big flip here and somehow, and we'll end up creating a third side somehow. But then you go back and it's like, okay, well, no, they've done all kinds of these other things that also were terrible, and now seem to not care about, again, the disregard for human life is kind of the big sticking point there. So it's unfortunate, but it really got me invested and really made me not want Ghetto to change. But okay, what stones are left unturned here? We talked, we kind of ended with Gojo visiting. We should looked up his name. Whatever his name is. What's that?
Oh, yeah, Megumi.
Right. So we ended with going to that guy's son, going to Megumi, and which weird comment. You got to keep up with me. Got high hopes for the kid, I guess.
Yeah, it was weird.
But I don't know. I found that a little jarring. Going just like all of a sudden, like this is almost like this is the next important thing, or remind us that there's not a connection between what just happened and now Gojo is going to be taking on some students. There's no connection there really, other than like, hey, I'm going to be taking care of, in some capacity, the son of the man I just murdered.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's almost like he was like a college scout. Hey there, Tiger. Let's just think of Alabama when you're gonna graduate high school. We'll recruit you, 5-star recruit. Come to Jujutsu High. This is strange. He's not even a teacher yet.
Yes.
He's still a student.
Something cool better happen with the demon guy inside of the kid, because I don't know. I just don't.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't care, and I need to care.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I thought this ending was like a cool way to like tie in everybody. Like, why are we jumping back and forth about, like the present and the past? It's because Megumi is actually this like crazy guy's son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he like opens his eyes and he's one of the first people he sees. It's like, how did they go from that first interaction to like now this kid is at, the high school, and is like somehow the son of this guy who almost killed Gojo. Like, I don't know. It just seemed cool to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Okay.
Like, is there going to be more there? Is there more to like Megumi's powers and like anything he's going to do then? And anything that like might keep, I don't know, might like maybe send Gojo into flashbacks, or might explain this storyline a little bit further, or maybe he's going to have an impression on Geto because this is, his dad is the guy who almost killed him once.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here we get off theorizing again. This is where we're going to set ourselves up for this.
That's what I say. We got to stop. If we're going to headcanon, then we have to have a section of like, okay, what do we really think is going to happen?
Right.
No. No.
I've been wrong so much that it's not even. Yeah.
So that's a good thing to talk about. What we're looking forward to. I know I want to see how Geto gets his big scar. I want to see what like more he does to himself in his attempt to like gain the power he needs or whatever. So like I'm invested in how he's gonna try to seal or do something to Gojo. Mm-hmm. And then I am very interested in the Zenin family.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be Megumi, that would be Maki, that would be her sister. What is this family? How, like, why are they so prominent, but they're like not good people, or like a Yakuza type of thing?
Yeah.
And what is everybody's relationship? And we saw now the extent of when someone has been like heavenly blessed or whatever, what they can manage physically. And so I want to see if Maki gets the ability to like get to those kinds of levels, or is stopped for some reason. Like I'm interested in all that. Like I agree, I don't really care about Itadori right now. Like I'm not particularly invested in that. But the Zenin family and then Geto's plans, that's what's going to push me forward.
Yeah.
What else has you guys excited? Or are you looking forward to seeing?
I mean, I think I already said it. Like, I like everybody's
Just some flashbacks, maybe. And
mysterious connections with one another, and like, I mean, to take my theorizing even further, even though that's a foolish endeavor. We saw. God, I can't remember Megumi's father's name now.
Right, Toji.
Toji. Thank you. So we saw his little like cursed spirit crawl up to Geto and be like, "Mommy." And so, is there going to be some sort of like action there where like Geto has that, but then also like Megumi's like that was once my dad's? Is there going to be some sort of I don't know, face off?
I forgot about that.
He also, if you remember, couldn't steal it from Toji when they were fighting.
Exactly.
So
He had to wait for him to die.
About that.
That was an oh shit moment for me. I was so excited.
Yeah.
Like, he's got him here.
Got it.
And then what the F? He can't? No.
Yep.
Okay.
But then at the end, when Toji's
so there's got
gone.
to be more to that. That's going to come back into play sometime.
Exactly. So so I'm just looking forward to like exploring more connections.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm interested to see if Yuta comes into this next the rest of the season at any point, because I think he's like a student in the school, like ahead of Yuji at some point, right? Or Yuji in that class.
Who?
From the movie.
The movie, the guy the sorcerer who like put a curse on Rika and made her into the cursed spirit in the first place.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure he's in like at the school. I know he like I've just read enough to know like he comes back in the series at some point.
Spoilers.
Sorry. I mean,
How
why
dare
would they do
you?
a whole movie about him without bringing him back? It'd be kind of silly, but
It's movie. Well, a lot of the times they just make the random movies that, what a weird one-off that has no impact to the plot of.
Right.
Yeah, but they talk about how he's like a descended from the same sorcerer's supreme as Gojo, and at the end of the movie.
This one was more connected than others.
Okay.
Like you could have, there's like 5 Inuyasha movies or something like that, and I don't think any of them matter. They're just like a separate offshoot of the story, and then not contributing to the main plot.
Quick mic grab. I'm hoping this would be a bold take, but we spent so much of the first season very centered around Itadori or whatever. If they just did a hard pivot and make him more of a background character and really get into the other classes at Jujutsu High, and
that'd be cool.
I wouldn't mind just doing a switch up like that. Just have them be more kind of the background characters. But that's my head canon where they just totally back it off and start going from like Gojo's point of perspective, because Gojo's been like a background character that's been really cool in season 1. But what if they flipped it and just had everything from his point of view, and then just that'd be like the coolest scenario for me, I think. But I'm just going to disappoint myself by them just not doing that. So I'm not going to get my hopes too high.
I would like to see the rest of the show from Geto's perspective. Like he's the hero in the show, right? In his head. And, Jujutsu Kaisen are the villains, or Jujutsu High are the villains, like that could be sick. And maybe it's been done before. I'm not certain. It's not something that I can recall. So, that would be really cool. And if I don't find out why Gojo started wearing a blindfold, I'm just done. I'm done with the show.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Solid.
I love the blindfold. I think it's a cool thing. It's a cool shtick.
Yeah.
Like I picked that dude up on Fortnite immediately. But I want to know why.
Yeah. No, I agree. To me, it's always been the weighted cuffs and boots and stuff of Dragon Ball. It's the tamp down the power, kind of thing. It's like, in that case, it's training too or whatever, but it's like, I don't remember what else it is. It's like they're wearing a thing to kind of contain it.
Cyclops?
But now knowing, X-Men? Like that. But I think like now maybe it's like just so people can't see when my ability's activated. I want people to think it's on all the time.
Oh, sure.
Maybe it's not on all the time.
That'd be a great head game.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, he's automated it through his quantum computing brain. That
Is it like training his instincts around it or something like that?
Yeah.
How it works.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I have to say this before I forget. Mike, when you were saying like, oh, I want to see it from the perspective of the bad guy, the only thing I could think of, I don't know why I was thinking about like 9/11. Just like, yeah, we should just totally get the perspective of ISIS and then totally just tell the story that way of how they're of course they think they're the heroes attacking the Americans, and I'm just like, how that would work.
Gravy.
I mean, Ghetto maybe has a ways to go to have killed that many people, but
he's a freedom fighter. He knows what he's doing.
Oh man,
history is told from the victors, right?
That's true.
So I actually do have a question. So like, do we think it was better or worse for his evolution to not see him kill like on a mass scale and just have it described to us? Like including his parents. Is that better or worse that we didn't see it? Is it less believable if we like try to film that action? Or is
parents doesn't matter because we never saw them.
Yeah.
We have no connection to them. If
right.
if
I'm just saying, like as a whole, like if we hadn't seen, because we haven't seen any of it.
Sure, but we saw him squish that guy, and that I mean, we've seen immersion people in cold blood. So
yeah, but like in this like flashback though.
No, yeah, at the very end, he like squished that guy with that big like rushing nesting doll.
Mm-hmm.
But is it more or less impactful to be like suddenly he's killed 113 people, including his parents, as like a one-off, or would it be more impactful to see it?
I think they set it up that you still have. They're trying to give you some sort of
plausible deniability
understanding yet with him still.
Yeah.
So we're not going the full brutal, even though like that's an insane amount of people.
Yeah.
We're still supposed to see this as like
kill for your first
Gojo's
time.
Friend.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's the whole thing is set up as two children being blamed for the ills of an entire village.
Yep.
And two people that they've clearly been beaten.
Yep.
And another breaking point, like these idiots that don't know what they're talking about, these stupid monkeys, you're all fucking dead. And so we have a moment there that we can, again, it's an overreaction. It would have been much more like cathartic to just kill those two assholes in the room,
right?
Instead of burn the village down. But not seeing him destroy the entire village still gives us a little bit of time for us to like compartmentalize him in our brain as villain.
He's still sympathetic.
It's like Anakin when he goes to kill the younglings and you just see his like lightsaber come down, but you don't actually see him obviously kill any of the kids. It's like still really impactful. It's very similar to that, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you
like
wish
when
it was
he
the other way,
goes,
Andrea?
I don't know. Like part of me did, because I think I probably do think I want to see it just because it would take more time and it would sort of like get into like a depth dissension, like I'm descending down into these like depths of mass murder, and I could see the snap and I could see, another piece of him go. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely impactful storytelling also to not see it. So
I have to say, honestly, I think that if they were going to make it impactful, killing 113 people, we either have to have someone else in that group that we know and care about that's being killed, so we feel that, or two, it had to be done in a way that is probably not appropriate for the genre we're in. Like, I can think of Akira, the movie. There's this woman in the street, and they rip her shirt off and like throw her to the ground, and it's visceral. And I don't think the rating for this show would provide, because you can kill a million drawings of people and not feel it if you don't have an attachment to that thing. If you don't have an attachment to the character, if it's not something. So I just feel like we wouldn't matter enough. Just screaming citizens just running. You'd have to have a moment where it's someone that is, you brutalize. They're crying and they're pissing themselves, and they lose their head or something. You know, I just think it probably is above the rating scale for this show.
Sure.
If they're going for the effect that you're maybe looking for, that like instantly, like, yeah, he's really lost it. He's lost all humanity here.
Yeah. I don't think this show is trying to be that in your face with like violence. They're trying to like cut this like rated R light.
As we talk about the guy with the hole in his body. And that being such a cool moment.
I've seen some way more messed up stuff in other anime than this.
He was a willing combatant.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
A capable dude that is, like you say, willing combatant. That's perfect. Not an innocent.
Right. So fights are fine. Just slaughter is not.
Murder's okay.
Correct.
Fight back.
Well, they did burn all those people in season 1 in that diner. So
yeah,
but that was like probably as far as they've ever gone. That was probably the most.
That was far.
Like, whoa, this is legit. Like, this is in your face. I don't think there's anything worse than that.
The worst death I thought in season 1 was the student at the school. I really thought he was going to make it out alive, but then he gets turned into a cursed spirit, and then Yuji has to kill him.
Oh yeah, that's
that was tough. That pull, because you just met the guy and you're like, okay, I'm really.
They're going to turn it around.
Yeah, he's getting bullied. He's going to do it. He's going to make it out of here.
Yeah.
That
I don't know.
Like
for me, his mom. That was a rough one. But then you guys, I'm totally going to show my prejudices. Megumi's first like dog that got killed by that special grade spirit. I was like, no.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm not saying
I'm always about the animals.
Intense violence or intensity and violence and stuff, but it's
yeah. But, okay, well, I think we've covered it. We have this week now. It's going to be a recap episode, I believe, of some kind. I don't remember the order of them. It's a recap episode of. I think I put it in the calendar, actually. So, recap of what we just saw and of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie. So, that's this week, tomorrow, Thursday. And then next Thursday, is a recap of season 1. And then the next week is nothing.
Okay.
And then on the 31st, the show is back for the Shibuya incident arc.
All right. So for the next 3 weeks, everyone can get caught up on Bungo Stray Dogs because the new season just dropped.
Ooh, I am already trying to get through the last anime you strongly recommended I watch. So.
I know. Well, you started watching Space Johnny Bravo instead of finishing Attack on Titan. So I don't know what to tell you, man.
Less like depressing than Attack on Titan. So
I know that Attack on Titans is like, hey, you're gonna meet some pretty cool characters. There's like 75% chance they're gonna get in between the mouth and start getting chomped with little bits.
Yeah,
it gets hard to watch sometimes. Where it's just like,
I'm with you, Phil. I need like my balance. I'm all about like I can watch something dark, but I need something just like bonkers and hilarious to just like balance it out a little bit.
Yeah. It's we'll talk about Attack on Titan again. I have like ran out of time today.
I think look, there's a million different shows to pick from, quite literally, and that we're managing to watch one on a weekly basis or whatever, or that we're all watching, great. You know, if we can, if the stars align and some other shows happen, then that's great. Otherwise, perfectly good. Also getting everybody's individual reviews of things as they've seen them and gone through them. So
For sure.
yeah,
Sounds good. Oh yeah, for sure. It's fun to recommend and try and you know, it's like, you know, if nothing else, it's the benefit of being in an anime podcast group because you get to like chat about different anime and get recommendations and stuff.
Exactly.
yeah,
It's fun to talk about. But yeah, for sure, we'll debate it, JP. But it's good, but
It's not much of it.
probably not for me.
I want to be on the fly on this wall. As we
Yeah.
watch.
I'm really interested what Mike, if you end up continuing with Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, have you seen Yu Yu Hakusho?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? Have I seen what?
Did
you-
God bless you, John. Sorry, you just sneezed.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
I don't know that one.
Okay. That is, in my opinion, in the vein of Dragon Ball Z, the best action anime.
Okay. Okay.
And what's nice about it, for one, is it's 4 seasons and done. Now, I think there's talk about bringing it back. I don't care. It shouldn't come back. It was done. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Whatever. There's 4 seasons, no movies that I'm aware of. Just 4 seasons and done. And it has all the tropes that you'd expect. It has the 90s kind of animation style of Dragon Ball Z with a little more kind of Halloween or horror sort of monster elements to it. It's got the castle with the booby traps. It's got the bosses you have to defeat, the levels you have to go up. It has the tournament. It's like all those things,
That sounds
but compressed into 4 seasons instead of feels like it goes on forever. So if you're feeling if anyone's feeling the itch for a Dragon Ball show and they've not watched the classic Yu Yu Hakusho, that is of my strongest recommendation
Okay.
for that kind of series.
Okay.
It's on my watch list. I'm moving it up.
All right.
Based
But
on
you gotta
that.
be in the mood for that. You want
Absolutely.
another Dragon Ball. You want that kind of thing. You want some 90s nostalgia. You want to go in that sort of route. You know, you gotta have fun theme song. You're gonna have the all the tropes of characters, the snarky one, the dumb one, the whatever. It's just all of it's there.
Sure.
All right.
So
I like it.
Okay. I need to get my racing animes back as well. I need that Overtake to come out, and I need the new version of, or the new story of Initial D. I'll probably go back and pick up where I left off with, oh my God, I can't even remember the name of it right now. The one with the Demon Z. Crap. It was the one, the
race-
Wangan Midnight. Wangan Midnight.
okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I never did finish that. So that's been my escape away from shonen stuff as well. So
Well, let us know when the new Initial D is coming out, because I plan to talk about that one.
Okay.
For you, Mike, we'll talk about Initial D. I've never watched the original. Maybe I'll try to cram that in when the other one is, right upon us, and we'll get that discussed. So
they made a live action of that too. Speaking of things,
I
they-
don't
There's live action of freaking.
oh, it was actually
I thought a lot of these
Terrible.
were like
It was
I thought they were
Well
like
done. Well done.
fan made like fake trailers for stuff, and I'm like, oh no, this is real. Somebody spent money to get this. I was like, oof.
all right. I think that'll do it from us. This has been Ohayou Anime, and we're here every other week. Next week, Andrew and I will be back with a regular podcast on the Rock Show. I think on the docket for next week is the movie The Menu, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's a newer movie that seems pretty interesting. So.
that movie was awesome.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Well,
if you want to
you're
come on to
welcome
talk
to
about
join
it,
us.
yeah,
The ship
then
sinks
that'll
at
be
the end.
next week. And make sure you subscribe in all the places. Podcast services, we're on most of them. Twitter, X.
Called X
Excuse me. YouTube, Twitch, all that sort of thing. So, and our regular theme song for Popcast on the Rocks is by Killing the Flower. Make sure you check them out. MJHoneyBee wasn't in the chats tonight, but that's okay. Make sure you give her a check on Twitch. She streams Dead by Daylight. And Mike has been uploading some new videos. So, Mike, tell everybody where they can find you.
At track_mouse on YouTube. So track mouse, and then track mouse on Instagram as well.
Aren't you technically isn't it technically something different on YouTube? When I search
I hope not.
track mouse, let me double check for you. Let me check because I
If
thought
you
there was
search
a
track
number.
mouse, you might get some stuff about the Oh, it is at trackmouse34 technically. You're right.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
For YouTube. Yep.
34 other track mouses out there, eh?
Which is funny because my number is 90.
Sorry, 33.
So everybody give him a follow. Make sure you check that out. He's got Mike's Pro Driver. He's got all kinds of awesome videos racing down track. It's like it makes me jealous. It's pretty exhilarating. Like you're like catching up to someone or whatever, and then you do, and I'm like, get out of the fucking way. Like just it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. So
Is that your day job, Mike? It's your day job?
What's that?
That's your day job?
Day job. I work for RBC Wealth Management.
Oh God, no! I said, is that your day job? You just not
someday,
Oh.
someday Pro Driver.
Is that your day racing? I wasn't sure if you just racing.
I
was your day
wish.
job. All right.
I wish it was.
Someday.
Mike's a
Someday.
degenerate gambler.
Wealth
He races
management
for pink
sounds good
slips on the
too.
weekend.
For pink slip. Racing for pinks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mike, I watched your video where you totally didn't brake. What do you check your brakes? Chunk your brakes?
Yeah, that was fun, right?
I would have done that in that situation. Totally. But you do you, man. Looks like you're going fast.
Live and learn, dude. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining me, and we'll catch everybody later.
Thanks,
Bye,
John.
guys.
See you guys. Oh, that's a perfect freeze frame.